Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Midnight Brands coming to you with stock prep on Monday, September 12th for the day ahead for Tuesday, September 13th. Hope everybody had a great weekend, had a great start to the week on Monday. Action seemed a little odd today with how things were trading with, SPY, again, a big gap. Certainly was the futures rollover, which I know a lot of people I saw talking about in FinTwit and some of the different rooms that I participate in and check out. So it seemed like a pretty odd day. Of course, it was tough if you weren't in and kind of pre-market to find kind of that right area. A few interesting short opportunities and longs during the day, but just quite interesting. A lot of things in the market and outside of the market that made today a very interesting day, to be sure. So I think with that, we'll go ahead and get started off. Again, we will remind everybody, we are not financial analysts. We are not financial advisors. Nothing we say is any kind of a recommendation to buy or sell, and nothing that we walk through is any kind of guarantee from past performance to talk through future results or guarantees by any means. And with that, folks, we will go ahead and kind of our normal routine and kick off first into the breadth ticker review. If you haven't seen this before, breadth tickers are ones that are very high in the index weightings. Think of your Apples, think of your Amazons, your Googles, etc. And so they carry that outside percentage in the index. And so if Apple is having a breakaway day, negative or positive, it will definitely have an impact in the S&P as well as the NASDAQ, be it in the Qs or in the NQ futures. And so with that kind of said, we will go ahead and kick off and go into the breadth review. Going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter, have some other things going on tonight. And so we won't go through all of them. We'll try to call out some of the bigger ones that we noticed. Starting off first with Gush. And as you remember, those of you that have seen the video the last few times, we've kept in this transfer trend line. And sure enough, on Friday, and then today, Monday, it's come and popped right back into that transfer trend line. And so for tomorrow, Gush actually has two zones. The zones are quite interesting, right? So you have this one here that's a little bit in the middle. It traded in there. This zone here, to me, if you're looking for something to play kind of continuation, would be an interesting one to see it come back and close this gap fill from back on this day. Looks like last week. So if we were to come back into this lower zone, certainly this bigger zone would be even more amazing, right? And then you come into actually the look with a 20-day EMA and a swing AVWAP, and there's some other pieces of evidence in this zone here too. So pretty interesting on Gush. SVIXI is another one, and next up on the list, again, these are all ranked by the order in which they score based upon the algorithm. Doesn't mean they're going to hit, doesn't mean that they're going to go the opposite direction of when they hit that zone, but it does mean there's a lot of evidence, and we want to be prepared to take action when we do see them come into that particular zone. So SVIXI's zone tomorrow is down here at the lows of that 53.81 to 53.77, and it, to me, is super nice because pretty quickly if you're wrong. Yeah, you've got some lows in here, but nothing really like this. This is some pretty big space here between the lower edge of this zone down to the next area, which is really just going to be some ADRs or average daily range. So definitely one I'd want to keep an eye out on and pay attention to what we've got going on there for that one. AMD was the next interesting one that we saw, again, coming out of the algo and having already reviewed and looked at these. That AMD bigger zone was going to be up here at the highs, and definitely interesting to me in looking at this one with where it comes in with the 20-day EMA, and it's got full ADRs up there at that level, as well as a gap fill just beneath it. And then kind of continuing to move on there, you've got Apple below that. Apple has two zones as well. You've got that one at the higher end at that 167 level, and then you've got one just below that at the 161 area. So pretty interesting. It's kind of on the outsides, which is really nice. So you'll be able to kind of make a decision there, right? You got this bigger one up here at the highs, which is going to be tomorrow. That will actually be photo ADR, and full is going to be up here because yesterday, Monday, was a pretty big move. It almost $4.5 So interesting, kind of two zones on that one. We will tag it off here, I think, on ERX and then XLC. ERX is one of those energy leveraged ETFs, and it had also, again, kind of a nice one. They're pretty narrow zones in some of these recently, which is nice. So ERX had that nice one here. Again, it's got some ADRs in there at that 57 level. So pretty interesting on that one. And then again, that's 57.46 to 16. I'm going to skip through the rest of these. Again, some other things I'm going to deal with tonight. XLC was the other one that I wanted to touch on in here, and mostly because it seemed and felt like in watching Meta, formerly known as Facebook in its symbol, so now it's META. Meta's been really trying to hold this lower zone it's been defending for the last few weeks. And so that's giving XLC, because Meta is a pretty highly weighted along with Google in that ETF. So that's a pretty nice one there for Meta and what and where it sits and how it's looking tomorrow at that 55.56, 54.46, 55.46 level. So nice on that one. Going to move along here again, trying to kind of move these through tonight with some other things going on. So in the overall breadth prep things, the first one we will hit on actually is going to be SYY, which is Cisco. And Cisco's level there, as you can see, is at 83.83 to 83.62 level. And as the charts finish up drawing here and put the right things on the screen again for me, it's going to be just below kind of where today's lows were. So it could set up for kind of a nice div, come down, collect this swing anchored VWAP, this daily anchored VWAP, and then kind of continue pushing there. But you can see, like, it's had a massive kind of move over the last handful of days. I wonder even, I didn't look at this before, I wonder if it set up actually for kind of like an AB CD and we just terminated today. So come up here, just shy of a 50% retrace. That that could be interesting, especially if we were to do something. Come back over here. So if we were to come back and tag the bottom end of that, yeah, that would definitely wouldn't be a 50% retrace from here, but that could prove to be something interesting to want to keep your eye on. The other one that was in that list was HSY. I'm not going to pull it up on screen. I mean, it's a good size zone, but it's right in the middle of everything. It's just it's not as interesting as you'd want. So it's one to keep an eye on, sure, but it's not one that I would probably take any kind of an action if I were watching it tomorrow. It's way too in the middle in the noise. Lots of evidence in there. It's just it'd be too in the middle of things for me. But I did want to hit on Kroger, which was at the top of the scoring list last night. And man, was this one phenomenal. Like, it came right up into that bigger level this morning, and it did not waste any time. And it just shot right back down. So yesterday, the level was something along the lines of this, from my recollection. We could go back and look at yesterday's prep and its zones in there, and it's already all published on Twitter and YouTube there. So I mean, that was kind of the zone yesterday from Kroger, and that's why we prep. That's why we try to find these right zones and get rid of that noise, so you can come in prepared. These are 30-minute bars, but I'm pretty sure this didn't go all down in one failed massive swoop. So really interesting on that one, and definitely one that, again, if you're looking through this stuff and you come in prepared, you can make the right plays with this information. Similar to kind of that vein was Mosaic, and Mosaic was also on that list yesterday. And I believe its big zone was at that 55. Looking at my other screen here, yesterday its big zone for a Mosaic Sunday night going into Monday was at this 55.30 to 55.15 level, and kind of same thing. Like, it came right in and just it just cut right through it. Again, we'd probably change these, but I'm not going to do it tonight. And that's a massive move. $5 on that first 30-minute candle. That is massive. So in tomorrow's case for Mosaic, it's got another kind of big zone, and it's just a little bit above where the one was yesterday. So maybe, there's a lot of cases where we see things that if they have a huge outlier move on day one, it is not unheard of on day two for them to have that same kind of outlier move. Maybe not always 522. Sometimes it is, especially if you look at the futures. But sometimes it could be $4 or $5. You get some people short covering and whatever else in there and trying to long and bottom fish. So very interesting on that one. And we'll close off tonight on TMUS, which is T-Mobile US. TMUS had a couple zones in it, so I thought it could be interesting. So TMUS has got the one up here at the 144.72. Which is kind of in the middle. I mean, not kind of, it is right in the middle. But to me, the reason why I was going to highlight it was it's got this kind of nicer, bigger zone down here at the lows. And to me, when I was looking at this, right, it's been kind of in this same little area there. That F6. I mean, it's kind of been in a channel here for a little bit. I mean, it's days where it's coming up a little bit, but I know that to me is looking kind of nice. So if it comes down into this lower area, you can see it how it lines back up, and we got the 50-day EMA that's going to be coming up to line into that area. So definitely wanted to keep an eye on if you got bandwidth over the next handful of days. And with that, folks, we're going to call it going through these super quick tonight. Again, hope these are adding value. We'll continue kind of trying to provide some more content and whatnot. Just getting all this kicked off and started, and really looking forward to trying to add some value to the community with looking for these key zones and whatnot, and sharing them out there with everybody. So hope everybody has a great Tuesday, continues on with a good week, and we will catch y'all later. Have a good one. Bye now.